was down to the allotment first thing to collect the measuring stick that I'd done for between the two posts. The rod was brought back to the shed and I made a mark on a piece of spare 3B1 which was going to be my measuring rod. So from that first mark I then placed the measuring stick on it, rode it up to the line using the pencil and then cramped it together so it didn't move and make the mark at the other end. I can now unclamp the measuring stick and in effect take it back to the allotment. It served its purpose. The short ends from the posts were brought down and placed in position either end of the measuring rod. To find the centre, first I looked at the rod and I put a mark where I thought the centre was. Drawn pair of dividers, I could then measure to this point, measure again from the other post, make another mark, see what the difference is and call it centre line. Centre line 1/4 inch and make a mark, do the same down at the left hand side and also at the right hand side, which allows then for expansion and play. Make an identification mark, right hand 2 and at the other end left hand 2. Take the style marked right hand 2, place it against the mark on right hand 2 and mark the true width. Mark these with the set square to give a definite width. Right hand 2 style is then placed onto the rod and we can now mark its true width. The true width of the top rail can be gauged in now and taken down to the centre line. My adjustable sliding bevel gauge was used to do this, but I could have used an ordinary marking gauge or even superimposed the rail on top. The whole process was repeated at the centre line. RH2 bottom rail was then placed equidistant upon the measuring rod, and then we could then mark out the corresponding positions of the shoulders. Squaring them across now with the tri-square. And of course giving them the identification mark RH2. RH2 was then placed up against the end of the stile and the position of the mortises matched across, the face being made flush with the inside face of the mortise and the shoulder identified. These marks are then transferred onto a marking gauge, which are then transferred to either end of the rail, marking out the length and width of the tenon. Tenon widths are then marked across the end of the rails, and down its length to mark the depth of the tenon. All the tenons are now marked out for the gate. We just identify which is the waste, which makes life a little bit easier, and make sure that we cut the saw marks on the right side of the lines. We can transfer all these lines now onto the bottom or the top rail, so we now have all the rails and all the tenons all marked and ready for cutting out. Here we have both rails all ready for cutting. Before we start cutting the main rails, I propose that we have a test piece, because we're going to need some wedges, and this test piece is good material and it's at the correct width for making the wedges. And secondly, it's 3 years since I did formed a tenon, and I need the practice. Using a Stanley knife or a marking knife, form a V groove at the shoulder and then cut with a tenon saw, or in my case one of these new Japanese saws. Using the marking knife and cutting the V groove gives you a clean sharp edge instead of a furry one if you went straight in with a saw. When you cut the tenon, it's sometimes better just to clean the face of the shoulder, where the end grain sometimes leaves little flakes and would stop it going into the mouth. Start cutting the mortise on a 45-degree angle, just taking it nice and steady through and following the line. Let the saw do the work. Turn the piece over and repeat the process. It's a bit easier this time because the last saw cut acts as a guide. So again, at 45 degrees at an angle, go down, cutting it. reach the bottom, straighten the test piece up and then cut all the way down to the bottom. Having cut the tenon, we'll now give it a try in one of the mortises. Let's see how good we are. That's not bad. That gap will tighten up with the cramps and it goes in there. It's just the end of the tenon that's stopping it going all the way home. Okay, so that's fine. It's getting late now, so I'll finish the other 4 tomorrow, which I should get done before 11 o'clock, before the cannon goes off for Armistice Day and we observe the 2-minute silence. I cut all the other tenons and I've even assembled one of the frames just to see how it goes. And now today I will do some assembly, which will be the next video. There goes the cannon. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had quite a job editing this, so I'm sure there's some bits that I've missed and you've got some queries or questions that you require answering. But please subscribe, and here's to the next time. Bye for now. Bye.